Athletic greatness comes in all shapes and all sizes. It doesn't come naturally, but is achieved from hard work, diligence, and adversity. Along the journey, there's opportunity, and there's always struggle. There is triumph, and there is defeat, and there is always a story behind the glory. It's not a stretch to say that one of the greatest basketball players ever from the state of Louisiana is Baton Rouge's own Seimone Augustus. She has proven it on the high school, college, and professional levels.
She was always hardworking. She was always eager to learn. A good teammate, fun teammate, a competitor.
Hands down, was the single greatest one-on-one basketball player our league has ever seen.
As a high school standout at Baton Rouge's Capitol High, she was featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine and was highly recruited by every major college basketball program in the country.
I remember recruiting her when I was at Louisiana Tech. When you watched her play, I don't know that there was anything she couldn't do.
Seimone's strength of character is what makes her a standout, a trait that was installed in her at a very young age.
You know, the very first time I ever saw Seimone in person wasn't on a basketball court. It was Thanksgiving, and it was down at the Riverside Centralplex, and she was there serving food to the less fortunate. I just remember sitting there and looking at her. There's the #1 high school player in the United States of America, and she's spending Thanksgiving trying to make others feel better.
Seimone, was the tip of the spear for your unparalleled career a conversation you had with your dad after losing an elementary school game?
It was. I had just started playing. I remember playing in the elementary school gym. I lost to actually my neighbor at the time. She had assembled her team. I had my team at school. And I lost. My dad came to pick me up, and I was on fire. I'm like, they cheated, And he was like, you lost, and that's the end of it. And so we get in the car, and it was a short car ride to our house. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you got to learn how to be a good loser before you could be a good winner, ever. And I was like, pouting. And he was like, well, what do you want to do with this? Do you want to be good or you want to be great? And I just sat in the car and kind of pouted. And by the time we got home, I got out the car, and I was like, I want to be great. Slammed the door and stormed into the house. And then he came in, he was like, we got some work to do then. And that was it. It wasn't a day that went by that I didn't work on my craft. I had to get my schoolwork first because my parents wasn't playing that. But anytime after that, it was like on the court. At the time, we only had a gravel court outside. So playing basketball on the gravel court can be challenging. Anything we had in the yard that I could use as a defender or something to kind of just help me with my shot or whatever it was, I was using it. I had great friends at the time. I always say, I understand now, like when your parents say, pick friends that align with what you want to do. Because all of my childhood friends played basketball. They were in the yard, and even though they didn't go on to be, basketball players, just those moments helped me hone in on my skills and really focus on my commitment to the game, having people at my side like that.
Seimone, is it an urban legend, or is it true that all over Baton Rouge, no matter what the court, the court that might have been pocked, the under the lights, dim lights, that you would play street ball wherever you could against males, against females?
Anywhere you would think of. The strangest place I've ever played was inside a funeral home. Where they used to house the caskets. It was a basketball court. And so it was
You were dying to get there,
Yeah,
weren't you?
I was dying to be in that gym, right. But they had removed the caskets and everything, and we actually
now that's weird.
Yeah, we actually had games in there. And, people was like, you're not afraid to go in there? I'm like, for what? It's a basketball court, it's a goal, they got a ball, I'm ready to play. So I think those moments and playing against different type of people from different, all across town. I was the only female most times, so I figured out how to use my smarts against someone that was a lot stronger than me. I used how to use my emotional maturity if someone's trying to trash talk me and get me out of my game. It was so many different facets of the game that I learned just playing street ball that I think really helped me hone in on my skills as a pro, or eventually as a pro.
Was there any time that there was another sport that was competing with you or with basketball in your mind?
Not necessarily competing, but I tried a little bit of everything. I tried tennis. I went out there, whacked the ball like it was a baseball. My dad was like, I'm running after balls.
We're done on that.
We're done on that. I tried volleyball. I was pretty good at volleyball. Golf was really something that I enjoyed in high school. But other than that, nothing really competed with basketball. It was just like that knack. As soon as I picked up the ball, I knew what to do with it. I felt comfortable. I was confident. And I think mostly when you think about sports, you got to feel confident in what you're doing. And that was the one sport that I felt most confident in.
Her announcement that she was going to play her college basketball at LSU brought instant recognition to the basketball program and would help start a 5-year run of NCAA Final Fours, 114 victories, and twice a sweep of National Player of the Year awards.
We challenged her a lot when she first got on campus. She was a phenomenal talent, and she wanted to make sure that she not only played the game well, but that she played well in front of a home crowd.
You know, when you see all these great things that are happening now because of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, it started with Seimone.
Augustus was the #1 pick in the 2006 draft, earning Rookie of the Year honors and eventually leading the Minnesota Lynx to 4 championships. She also would earn international titles in the Euro Cup and earned Olympic gold medals 3 times with Team USA.
You know, one of the most moving moments of Seimone's career was when she was on stage at a press conference in Rio de Janeiro at the Olympics as the flooding was happening in Baton Rouge.
To know that everyone back home is going through something, everyone has lost something. Me and Coach was just talking about 40,000 people lost their homes, and in Baton Rouge, this is for you.
I know this is going to be a difficult answer, but I want a question to answer, but I want to ask it anyway. And what gold medal, what championship meant the very most to you? And I'm sure you've been asked that a bunch, but I'm curious as to what was the most satisfying here a few years after the fact?
Probably the first gold medal in Beijing. Because if you think back, like there was no WNBA when I first got started. It wasn't until I was well into high school that the WNBA came into effect. So the first poster that was on my wall was of the U.S. Women's National Team with Rebecca Lobo, Lisa Leslie, and all those ladies.
Those were heroes to you growing up?
That's the team that I wanted to be on.
Okay.
Those were like, all right, I'm going to be there with them. And so that's what I worked. Gravel driveway, all the work ethic was going to get on that poster. So when I made that team, I was the youngest of one of the players on that team. And I just remember my dad like, we did it. Because that was one of the goals that I don't ever really write stuff out or verbally say them out loud. I just kind of set my intentions and start working at it. And that was one of the ones I verbalized to him, like, I'm going to be on that team. And he was like, all right, we're going to be on the team.
I want to ask you about the influence of Louisiana and the South Louisiana culture and the community in which you grew up. Did you take a piece of that when you went all over the world, winning gold medals and competing literally against international competition from all corners of the earth?
Everywhere I went, people asked where I was from, and they assumed, Texas or Georgia, some of the bigger, name states. And I'm like, from Louisiana. And they're like, Louisiana? And so for me, it was like an opportunity to show people who I was and where I was from, since most of them had never heard or seen people from Louisiana before. So, I left it all out there on the court, kind of what I was telling you earlier. I was determined to show people, if this was your first time seeing someone from Louisiana or your last time, I was going to make it a memorable moment. And for the most part, I have rave reviews about the things that I was able to do and how people now view Louisianians based on how I performed on the court.
Her uniform number, 33, was retired by LSU in 2010, making her the first female athlete in school history to receive that honor. The Minnesota Lynx would follow, retiring her jersey in 2022. The next year, she would become the first female athlete in LSU history to have a statue erected in her honor.
It still just hasn't sunk in. I pass by it every day now to go to work, and I'm just like, I can't even process like the emotions, and I'm about to start crying now. It feels good though. And I think back on that day, and it was like the city of Baton Rouge came out. It was a celebration of like all the commitment that everyone had put into me, invested into me. That statue means really Baton Rouge, you know?
Honors abound for this basketball superstar. She was inducted in the National High School Hall of Fame in 2019 and is a member of the Minnesota Sports Hall of Fame. 2024 was a banner year for Seimone's post-career honors, entering the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
Her parents are her biggest supporters, and they're so proud of her. And when I came back to coach at LSU, they were some of the first people to come to practice.
I don't think Seimone is done. To see how much she's grown as a person into the woman that she is now, like a caterpillar turned into a butterfly. She's blossomed.
She has done all of it with an amazing amount of humility. That's why she's not just a Hall of Fame player, but a Hall of Fame person.
She has given basketball fans memories that they will never forget and will now continue to enjoy as she enters the next chapter of her career, joining Coach Kim Mulkey's staff at her alma mater, LSU. Now you have an opportunity to help LSU do what it didn't do when you were playing, although coming so very close in the national championship Final Fours 5 times. But you've got a chance now to be a part of a team that's looking for its second national championship on Kim Mulkey's staff.
I know, you know, to see it is to be it, and I never did. That was the one thing in my whole career that I'm like, I didn't get it done, you know. I got it on the other side. I got 4 championships on the other side, but it's still not like, what would have happened if I had won a national championship during my time? But to see Coach Mulkey and her staff and that team come together and win a national championship now, like internally, I'm internally motivated as a coach to be like, all right, we can get back there. And this year is going to be different. Every year is different. We lost players. We're gaining new players. Players are going to have to step up. And I'm just looking forward to the ride and just the opportunity to learn, pass on my knowledge to the young ladies, and hopefully get us to that Final Four and win one.
If you enjoyed this conversation, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum has exhibits and stories about Louisiana's sports greats. Natchitoches is where history and fun blend with our state's rich sports culture. Find travel planning tips at natchitoches.com.